Hey guys, so in today's vlog I want to talk about what accumulates suffering besides all of your shadow things that you need to work on. How do you cause and layer the suffering on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis? So suffering and what your destiny, the pain and suffering that's going to happen in your life is determined in childhood. All of your insecurities will be formed from the closest people, probably your parents, your teachers, your siblings, your cousins, your friends. All of those insecurities will form and take home in the subconscious mind in childhood. That's a given. But what I'm talking about today is not that aspect of it, but how do we layer on and layer on to those old feelings of insecurities that we have, which present in anxiety, present in fear, all that low vibrational stuff. How does that keep layering? And then all of a sudden you're fucking 40 and you're like, what? Or maybe a lot of people are 40 and not even aware of these layers and what they're doing. They're walking around unconsciously. So what we do, all of us do this until you put consciousness to it. What we do is we ignore. Let me say that again. We ignore. The more you ignore your feelings, the more you are layering the bullshit and the pain and the hurt and the suffering into your subconscious mind. It's almost like you're locking it into the matrix, the pain and the suffering. You're just like lock and key. Every time you ignore something that doesn't feel good. So when things don't feel good, it is really important to acknowledge that I don't like this. This does not feel good to me. There's something about this scenario, this situation that I do not like. Acknowledge it. Because what that does, the next level of it is to understand why you don't like it. Is it belittling you? Like what in that scenario is it that is a low vibration that you're mirroring? That is the whole point of our existence. That is self-inquiry. And then what do? You respect that feeling. You respect that you feel insecure and you don't like a certain aspect of what is being mirrored to you and you want no part of it. Acknowledge it. So I'll give you an example. So my husband passed away almost 14 years ago. 14 years is coming up real soon. And what I didn't realize, it's really weird. I used to get a lot of anxiety, like walking into a liquor store. And I don't know why, but I would feel this sense of loss and I would feel like this sense of loneliness when I would walk through a liquor store. I felt the feeling, and I know subconsciously I kind of knew that, oh, okay, I'm feeling this way because when he was alive, I never had to walk into a liquor store. I even rarely had to go grocery shopping, but especially like these little things, and this is really important because the little things that cause you pain, this is the shit that layers, and it's the hardest to get rid of until you give it consciousness. That's why I'm giving you such a minuscule example. So over the years, so for the past decade, I kept this feeling going of walking in and just kind of feeling sad. So from like extreme just loss, because I didn't acknowledge the feeling, I just suppressed it, what it turned into was just sadness. And this sadness I mean, I would be going out to parties to go grab a bottle of wine. I should be happy. I'm gonna go, I'm gonna hang out with my friends. It's gonna be a great time. Most people are happy, but what happened was because I didn't deal with the actual loss, like, okay, I get it. I am alone. I have to do this alone. Like, this is life. It's okay. It's another stage that I didn't ask for, but it's happened to me. I'm now a widow. I'm gonna be going to the liquor store alone a lot. Instead of giving that rationale to myself, I suppressed it. And I know this is a small example, but remember, these examples, they layer, and here's how. So I keep this up, 14 years go by, and over time, like, I stopped relating it to my husband, and I started just relating it to sadness. And look how it affected me. It affected me in a way where I couldn't get myself in a joyful state before going to see my friends, because I would enter the liquor store. And this was all now unconscious. It becomes unconscious when it layers and layers and layers. And the breakthrough literally happened a couple of weeks ago. My friend and I were hanging out here, and I just blurted that out. I was like, I hate going to the liquor store, and all of it just came out. And that's when I realized, I was like, holy shit, this has kind of affected my whole life, like over a decade of my life, because I didn't deal with the loneliness that it was causing. I didn't deal with the actual issue. I suppressed it. So the unconscious trigger now was going to the liquor store, grabbing a nice bottle of wine. Unconsciously, I still wasn't happy when I would go to a friend's house. I still didn't feel the joy. So it is the little things. Please, please, please really begin to notice your feelings. When you don't feel good, God damn it, stop and recognize that. You don't need to know why right away. You don't put that stress and pressure on yourself. That's not the point of this, because then that's also your ego kicking in. But please just recognize how you feel and give respect to your feelings. If you don't like something, just know it. Don't have to decipher it. Just be like, oh, I don't like something about this. Mental note. And the more you stop and the more you're like, I don't like something about this, the faster the answers are going to start coming to you to why you don't like something about this. Because what you're doing is you're beginning to create consciousness. So your mind, you're becoming conscious of it. Once you become conscious of it, your heart, you begin the heart-mind connection. The heart-mind connection can only begin once you put awareness into something. Then your heart will start speaking to you, and the heart speaks to you in thoughts. The heart feels like, when the heart's communicating to you, it's like, feels like intuition. It's like this, they come in the waveforms of like thoughts. That's how I see it anyways. Love you guys so much. What is your experiences on suffering and how it layers and how we are kept in suffering? And like these little things that we don't, suffering is so tricky. It's like right in front of you, but we don't acknowledge it. We suppress it, which causes more suffering. And that is so twisted. That's why it's so hard to get out of the matrix. That it's one of the hardest things to do. But this is why, because it's not complicated, but it's extremely complicated. Love you guys so much.